Welcome, Snoozy fam, to another Frightmare Friday, where we scour the internet to find some of the most terrifying nightmares people have had. You won't want to miss today's episode. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content on dreams, nightmare, and all things sleep. Today's story is inspired by a user named DwellInk, and it's about him being drained of his blood by the infamous Wednesday Addams from the new Netflix show Wednesday. Now, let the dreams begin. I just got home from work. It had been a hectic day as a design consultant for an international firm. Overworked with long hours and stressful deadlines, not to mention some of the crazy clients I have to deal with. It was, however, so nice to see my wife preparing dinner in the kitchen. I was starving, and to be frank, I really missed my wife. She always gave me a sense of calm and can always brighten my day when I'm at my worst. I walked over to her and gave her a big hug and a kiss on the forehead. She was making one of my favorite dishes, Vietnamese pho and lemongrass chicken. Her food was to die for. I changed out of my work clothes and sat down on the couch as my wife brought over the food. We sometimes like to eat in front of the TV. My wife said, "Hey, how about we check out that new Netflix series, Wednesday? I heard it's really popular and is getting a lot of praise from critics." I honestly just wanted to eat my steaming hot bowl of pho and enjoy some music, but seeing how enthusiastic my wife was, I agreed. We switched on the TV and began watching the series Wednesday on Netflix as we scarfed down the delicious bowl of noodles. To my surprise, the series wasn't bad. I actually started to really enjoy it. The show was about a young, mysterious girl that got forced into a school for the outcast, an academic institution for vampires, werewolves, and other mysterious creatures. We watched episode after episode, and by the time we were on the 8th episode, I was exhausted. My eyes were so heavy I could barely keep them open. When the episode ended, I finally gave in and closed my eyes. When I opened my eyes, I was a teenage boy, sitting inside an antique Rolls Royce on the way to Nevermore, the school for the outcast. My mom was sitting beside me with a stern look on her face. I asked her, "Why am I going to Nevermore? I'm not a freak. I don't want to go. Mom, please don't make me go." My mom didn't look at me, nor did she say a single word. When we passed the large, rusty metal gates of Nevermore, she finally said, "Grab your bags and get out of the car. I don't want to see you ever again. You can join the rest of the freaks at Nevermore." I was so surprised. What did I do that was so wrong to have my own mother talk to me like this? Reluctantly, I got out of the car and stared blankly at my mom as she drove off into the distance. I had a pain and sadness inside of me that I couldn't describe. There's no words to explain the feeling you get when your mother throws you away like a piece of garbage. I turned around towards the towering castle, trying to prepare myself to face the horrors of Nevermore. The halls of the school were dark and dingy. Mystical ancient texts were carved in the stone walls and on the ceilings. It looked like these carvings have been here for thousands of years. I walked into Principal Weem's large office as she shut the door behind me. She gave her usual welcome speech and then assigned me to room 208 for the rest of the semester. She also said, "Your roommate will greatly appreciate your company." I didn't know what she meant by that, and I thought it was kind of creepy. What does she mean by greatly appreciating my company? And who's my roommate? Walking through the halls towards my room, I could see everybody's eyes staring at me. Why would someone like me, an ordinary person, a normie, be in a school of freaks? I couldn't help but tear up. I walked up to room 208 and opened the door. Standing on the other side of the door was a young girl with pale white skin and long dark braided pigtails. She was dressed in all black and had dead eyes with no emotions. She stood there as if she was expecting me. She stared at me for several seconds and then proceeded to slowly walk towards me with her motionless arms glued by her side. "I'm Wednesday Addams, and I've been expecting you," she said. Then she continues to glare at me with her piercing eyes, analyzing me from head to toe. I just stood there awkwardly by the door, not knowing what to do. After several seconds, she abruptly turns around and walks over to her wooden antique desk, sits down, and starts typing on her retro typewriter. What an odd little girl. I couldn't tell if she was happy, sad, or mad to see me. But she did give me an eerie, almost demonic vibe. I'm going to try to avoid interacting with her as best as I can. I do not want to be mixed up with a person like her. For the rest of the day, I went to 4 different classes: Ancient Monsters, Magical Potions, History of the Death Potion, and Carnivorous Plants. I didn't encounter Wednesday for the entire day until I went back into my room in the late evening. I was getting ready to go to bed when, in the corner of my eye, I saw Wednesday glaring at me. Her face was pale white, but the expression on her face was not the same as earlier in the day. She looked like a hungry wolf that hasn't eaten in weeks. I sat up on the side of my bed and asked, "Can I help you? Stop staring at me. You're making me incredibly uncomfortable." Wednesday didn't say a single word. Instead, she just turned her head away and faced the other direction. As she did this, I could hear the creaking and the cracking of her neck as she turned away. I was freaking out. How am I supposed to fall asleep with this murderous psycho in the same room as me? I went back into my sheets and tried to stay awake as long as possible. However, the first day of school got the best of me. I was exhausted from all the lessons and the studying. Eventually, I closed my eyes and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I was awoken by a loud howl. It scared me to my core, and I jumped out of bed. I walked over to the window to see where the sound came from and what could have made such a monstrous howl. The night sky was black as can be. The only illumination giving light to the darkness was the full moon on the horizon. As I was peering out the window, I suddenly sensed a haunting feeling behind me that sent chills down my spine. It felt like someone or something was breathing down my neck. I was hesitant to turn around, and I was frozen by fear. But I had to see what was behind me. If I was to be killed, I'd rather know who the killer was. Knees shaking from the terror, I slowly turned around. And what stood behind me took my breath away. It was Wednesday Addams, but she had turned into a hairy, gruesome monster. Wednesday had turned into a werewolf from the full moon, and she was hungry. Her mouth opened wide to display her razor-sharp teeth. Her monstrous eyes were glued to my carotid artery in my neck. I could tell that she had an immense thirst for my blood. Before I could yell, scream, or run away, Wednesday pounced on top of me and bit into my neck. As she did, blood gushed everywhere. Not more than 10 seconds later, I could feel my body go numb. Everything felt ice cold and my vision started to fade. I was starting to lose consciousness. Wednesday the werewolf took one last drink of my blood and then let out a loud, rumbling howl. Then she busted through the windows and ran towards the full moon. As I laid on the cold, dusty wooden floor, I closed my eyes and accepted my fate. When I opened my eyes, I was back on my couch in my apartment, with my wife's head on my shoulder. We had both passed out from binging the Netflix show Wednesday. To this day, that was the scariest dream I ever had about a seemingly not so scary TV series. Have you watched the Netflix series Wednesday yet? What did you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and click on that bell notification for more amazing content like this. Share this with a friend if you think they may need a little wake-up call. Thanks for watching, and until next time, sleep well.